Good evening and welcome to Telling Tales. Here we tell atmospheric stories together through the medium of tabletop role-playing games. It is Monday night, which means we are playing Masks of Nyarlathotep with 7th edition Call of Cthulhu. I'll do a quick recap on where we're at in a moment. But first, promo things. So links to everything below the stream. So Twitch if you're watching on YouTube, YouTube if you're watching on Twitch, our social media, our Discord, which you can join and come and chat with us and other people involved in the channel, and our Patreon, where if you enjoy what we do, you can support us. Other things that we do on the channel, we have Simba Room at the moment on every other Wednesday. So the next episode is the 23rd of April, which is next Wednesday. And The Yellow King, which takes place on Thursdays. The next one is May the 1st, Thursday, May the 1st. The group did the Peru adventure, which is new to this edition of Masks of Nyarlathotep, and then have gone into the New York section of the game. Most recently, they are investigating the death of their friend Jackson Elias, but this has led them to the potential discovery of an innocent man being found guilty of ritual murders. And they met the wife of this man, who may or may not be innocent, last week, and are currently at the prison to interview the man himself. Having his wife has sent a telegram to advise her husband to treat the players as to be trusted, hopefully allowing everybody to get the most out of their meeting. So let's bring on Sam, who plays Mrs. Farwell. Hey, Sam. How's Mrs. Farwell feeling about all of this?
In a row.
Really?
In a row, Johnny. Oh, I'm so. I think Miss Farwell's pretty glad we're finally chatting to the person who was accused of all this. It seems pretty straightforward that he was framed, at least to some extent. I don't know whether he's also involved in some way, because there's some weird, slightly odd stuff to do with him too, but like the red cloth in a book, which might just have been something he found, but it's a bit strange. So I'm quite looking forward to talking to him. And yeah, it sounded like from the guy in the prison saying that he's resigned to his fate as well. Just got me thinking that if he is innocent, it would be really nice to save an innocent man and not have him hung. Whatever horrible thing.
Electric chair.
Electric chair. Yeah, okay, electric chair. That bad thing. Let's not have the bad thing happen to him. But it brings up the very uncomfortable part of how the heck are we now dealing with the New York Police Department and all of the stress that comes with that. So, yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Let's bring on Mr. Farwell, played by Justin.
Hello.
Hey, Justin. Same question, Mr. Farwell.
Great. Yeah, no, I love that Mrs. Farwell is very convinced that absolutely this person is framed to some degree. Farwell, and that no one could doubt that. Farwell disagrees. Mr. Farwell thinks that there's a reasonable chance that justice was served because, I know people who mess around with these kinds of things do go peculiar some of the time. And it's best to keep an eye on them. We haven't found a way of getting Price into a facility now for his own protection, but it might have to happen in the future. We don't know.
Cool, thank you. Let's bring on Jack, who is joining us after a couple of weeks of being unable to, who plays Ted Hobbs. Hey, Jack.
Hey, Johnny.
Yes, you are up to date on the info. Ted, of course, they're lurking in the shadows throughout all of this. How is he feeling
just
about?
Hear a snap as he takes a photo and doesn't say a word, which makes everybody immediately comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. How's Ted feeling about that? I mean, this could be a scoop, right?
It could be. Ted is going in with an open mind, I guess, because there's nothing more important than the truth. and also a good story. And hopefully those two things mostly align.
Yes.
So yeah, he's going into it with an open mind, and maybe with the thought that there is a publisher out there who now has a gap in their roster for someone to write books on the occult, which is like more experienced. As long as he survives, that is. He's optimistic. He survived once weird things like this, so he's got 100% survival rate, and you can't argue with that.
You literally cannot.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you. Let's bring on Steve, who plays Edwin Price. Hey, Steve.
Hi, Johnny.
How's Edwin feeling about all of this?
It's it's not great. Murders and all, but I haven't had my mind controlled recently by some archaeologist who's claustrophobic. So it's better than Peru. I'll as I go through, I think I'll be rating. So currently, New York is better than Peru. The events of not sort of I'm not rating.
The notorious board come to you for a quote about that.
And the story's almost over, so these might be the only two ratings you have to give.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We're like one episode of solving this whole thing, right, folks?
It's weird that Johnny
Very
keeps
long
saying the
run.
New York section, but it should just be the section, the book.
Yeah, there's this section. There's the last section.
Yeah.
Once you've decided if this person is innocent or guilty, it's kind of done, right?
Everything else,
Like,
just yeah.
yeah.
I mean, if this person happens to be Nyarlathotep, then is in prison. Job done.
Yeah, no access to his masks. They're all at home.
Yeah.
You go to prison,
yeah.
and he's like, "Oh no, they've already got him. It's fine."
Right, on that note, let's bring on John, who plays Merritt Barton. Hey, John.
Hey, Johnny.
How's Merritt feeling about this silliness?
Still as infuriatingly confused as he was before, but now, I think his sense of justice has been stoked. Because, trying to solve a murder is a very noble cause, but also he's already dead. But trying to save an innocent man from unfair corporal punishment, capital punishment, that is a cause that Merritt can feel strongly about.
Okay.
He also feels strongly about Jackson Elias's death, obviously, but
there's nothing you can do about that now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
the time for preventing that has passed, and you all failed.
Yes.
Well,
so
look, there might be a book somewhere we could use to do something about it.
One of the ones I picked up to bring over here that I failed on my roll and have no idea if they're terrifying eldritch tomes or not still.
Okay, I'm going to give you the opportunity now to kind of backtrack a little and discuss what you may have discussed on the walk to the cell that you might want to speak to Hilton Adams about. If anything, or if you're not bothered, then we can.
Yeah, I mean, I would have wanted to certainly ask him about the events of the actual murder, about this red ribbon. Just like the club that they were going to. What was it called?
It was Juju House mentioned.
Juju House.
Yeah.
Teddy's is
the
place that
Teddy's bar.
Teddy's.
Yeah.
All the things, really.
I mean, I want to ask him what he thinks really happened. Presumably he was investigating. So, what's his theory?
Which cops are the ones that are on the take?
Might not ask that one in here. I'm not sure.
Oh, why not?
I was going to say we might want to discuss what are we not asking him, considering we've been told that the interview is going to be observed.
But the guy's going to be stepped back a bit, so he said he'll give us.
And if everybody else just sort of like hums in the background.
One of his look over there, quickly distract him. Yeah.
Could have given him that cake too.
Yeah.
Okay. So George Brunton says, if you're all ready, and turns a key in the door, opens the door. You see a corridor. There is a door at the other end, and you can see bars running down both sides of this corridor, which is essentially 2 cells. And the cell on the left seems to be the cell on the right is empty, and the cell on the left has a man in it. So the cell is quite cramped. There is a lavatory, a metal framed bed, a small desk, and a chair. There is no natural daylight in this room. In the cell, sorry, there's no window, but there is through sort of the doorways there is some natural light coming into here. You see a man seated on the edge of the bed in the cell. He says, hello. I'd love to shake your hands, but I don't think that'd go down too well with Mr. Brunton here. Gives kind of a wry smile. Brunton kind of, you can't tell whether it's a small sort of gruff chuckle under his breath or sort of a grunted. You can't tell quite how light-hearted his response is, which is not words. It's difficult to tell whether it's how sort of steely it is. He says, as promised, I will step back a little and allow you your privacy. And he basically leaves the door open and kind of stands in the doorway. So you can get probably, let's call it 10 feet between you and him, and still be able to kind of talk to Adams without being at the bars. So you get the impression that if you got too close to the bars, he would step in. So you think that you could have a hushed conversation without him overhearing everything that you're saying, essentially. And he steps back into the doorway and says, your 30 minutes begin now.
Amazing.
This is unfair and cruel, unusual punishment.
Mr. Adams, you don't know us, but we've come to talk to you because, a good friend of ours was murdered a few days ago, with all the hallmarks of the murders that you were said to have committed. Now, clearly, it wasn't you. So we're here to ask a few questions and hopefully gain some information that helps us uncover what's really going on. I hope you don't mind us talking to you.
Not at all. In fact, Millie sent me a telegram earlier to advise that you are pre-vetted, so perhaps we can make the most of our short time together. I understand that there is something in it for you as well. That doesn't deter me. In fact, if anything, I think it makes you more likely to act on my behalf. So what can I tell you? I don't have full details of what you've discussed with Millie, so perhaps any gaps, you can let me know what you need to know.
Thank you.
I suppose we'd quite like to be caught up to date on wherever your investigation led you before here, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. So a little after I got back from the war, I think a year after I got back from the war, let's call it 1919, is when I started noticing that people were going missing, or that it was a recurring event. But it could have been happening a lot longer than that. Obviously, during the war, people were going and not returning anyway, and crime picked up, you know. So these kind of things could have slipped under the radar at that time. But then once we'd noticed, it became pretty clear that they were happening on a monthly basis, roughly. And in fact, during the dark of the moon, which I suppose if you're going to abduct somebody, there's probably no better night. But the murders, though, they didn't seem to fit a pattern or a schedule. Maybe they were a response to something else. I mean, certainly the last one, well, sorry, the 8th one, it's not the last one anymore, I suppose, was, I'm pretty certain, carried out specifically to pin on me. But look, what I can tell you, it wasn't my knife used in the murder. I had, well, I like to think I was a little more sensible than to take the bolo with me on patrol, considering that the previous murder victims had all been taken out with a large knife. I didn't want to have that with me. So I took my army issue revolver for protection. And I'm pretty sure that my knife was taken when the police searched my rooms and, well, you know, fixed me up. Put the blood on there to try and put it on me. I'm sorry, ma'am, you were saying.
No, it's okay. So that may well have been done after the event. That should, in theory, make it easier. Well, others may be able to corroborate that, I suppose. If I might ask, you had a scrap of red cloth, I believe your wife said, and we also took the liberty of looking up the last book you were looking at in the library. Did you have any more unusual or odd theories for what was going on? However strange, we'd be very interested in hearing. I promise we don't judge.
We'll see. Although I gather your friend, I'm sorry, by the way, was maybe into this kind of stuff, but this guy, a doctor, you may know his name already, Dr. Lemming. He was shouting in the press about some African death cult. Well, when we were looking through the books in the library, we found something about a cult. Millie may have already told you about this, so please, if I'm repeating her, let me know. But the cult of the bloody tongue, which was supposed to have been long since dead, from Kenya, if memory serves me.
What made you first think it was them or connect them to these events?
It was just the only thing that we found at first. So you're looking at these things, right, and you're following a trail of things along. So the only place really in Harlem that had like real ties to Africa is this place called Juju House, like an art store, I suppose.
Mrs. Adams mentioned it.
Yeah, I think she heard me talking to somebody about that. So they get there's a man, Silas Nkwane, runs the place, and I mean, the place has been there for years. This isn't a new development that this place is there, but something about it. Give me the creeps.
Anything in particular? Can you describe why you felt this, or was it simply a sense of dread?
Yeah, that it just made me uncomfortable. But look, ma'am, you were asking about the strip of cloth.
Yes.
When I got stitched up, well, I caught somebody. When I arrived, there was somebody there, and they had this scarf, I suppose, sort of around their head, like a bandana with like a trail coming off it, and I managed to grab it, but they tore away.
I've
So,
seen very similar, I think, just after the murder of our friend.
Same folks, I guess.
Johnny, sorry, something just to get straight. That description that he gave for having the red, presumably his wife said it was in a book, and so he must have had a bit of time between then and when he was caught. Correct? I'm just trying to catch if he's lying here.
He was so that he was captured basically at the scene there.
Yeah, so his wife said she saw it with him using it as a bookmark, which would imply there's more
He
time
was
between those two things.
using it as a bookmark in his journal, which he may have
Yep.
had on him.
But his wife presumably wasn't at the scene where he was captured. So I'm trying to figure out how his wife saw the. I might be being too nitpicky, but I'm trying to figure out how his wife saw it.
You're muted, Justin.
Is this an inconsistency with Johnny, or is this an inconsistency with?
Basically, is this a lie
That's
that
what
I'm
we're
pointing
arguing.
out for good reason or not for good reason?
We can come back to this when the time's not ticking.
Yeah, can we have a
Yeah,
separate timer for
His wife was at the police station with his so she saw his things at the police station.
Gotcha.
Sure.
They
Okay.
could also have come out in evidence during the hearings as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, I take it back.
But your story's straight, Johnny. You're safe for now.
Hmm.
Cool.
We will be keeping an eye on you, though. Might I ask you whether you happen to see any marks on the body? Any particular, well, anything unusual?
You mean like the forehead thing?
Can you describe it?
It was like I guess like an oval with lines.
Does that match up with? I presume it does.
Yeah.
Yes, that was the shape we saw on Jackson Elias as well.
Had you had much interaction with the police before the night of your arrest? I'm not accusing you of. I'm not asking like that. I mean, has anyone been harassing you?
So, I'm a law-abiding guy. I'd never had, never been arrested or even had any accusations thrown at me, really. But yeah, me and the guys, we'd been a little bothered, I suppose, by some of the police since we started taking matters into our own hands a little. They didn't seem happy about it, even though they weren't doing anything. It's not like you're stepping on somebody's toes if they're nowhere to be seen.
Any officers in particular, should we come across them?
My understanding of things, limited though it may be, and he kind of looks over at Brunton and leans forward a little, but not so close that he could be mistaken for trying to pass or receive something through the bars, and lowers his voice. My understanding of the matter, limited though it may be, is that there are two factions, as it were, one of which is maybe not completely non-corrupt, but certainly significantly less corrupt than the other faction. And the second faction is the one that I believe put me in here. And that one may or may not be headed up by the current captain, Robson. And leans back and goes, but of course that's all conjecture.
Of course.
Mr. Adams, could you describe exactly what happened on the night you were caught?
Sure. I was out on my patrol, I suppose you could call it, that we've been doing since we noticed. I don't want to say what was happening because we still don't exactly know what was happening, but people going missing, being injured or killed. And I heard a struggle down an alleyway. So, of course, I think perhaps I've stumbled across something. At last, perhaps we can stop something from happening. And I see you can never trust your memory in situations like this to be precise, but I think 3 people with these red bandana scarves standing over somebody. So I pull my revolver to protect myself, run up. I don't want to shoot nobody because that becomes a whole other thing, right? So it's there in case I need to stop myself from being killed. So I run up, and 2 of the guys, Scarper, one of them is a little slower. So I managed to, as he's running, I managed to get hold of the headscarf. Tears a little, but he gets away. Then, from behind me, the boys in blue, of course, just as the last scarf disappears around the corner. And there I am, standing over a body.
That does seem very fast.
Doesn't it just?
Hmm.
Considering they've never been anywhere near any of the other bodies that have been found for a little while after.
Suppose it was just happenstance that they happened to be there in their evidence. Did they ever give any reason as to why they were at that place and time?
Unfortunately, Mr.
Price, Edwin Price.
Mr. Price, unfortunately, they essentially gave the same story as me. So, just out on a patrol, which of course means if somebody wouldn't believe them, they also wouldn't believe me.
I think I will, lower my voice slightly and lean in a bit and ask, within the walls of this place, have you ever experienced, do you think you're being watched? Not obviously by the custodians, but do you think your actions are being observed? Have you ever been threatened within these walls?
Not threatened. I do wonder about a couple of the guards. It's difficult to say. It's my first time in prison. I don't know how guards usually watch prisoners, but There's a couple of them in here that I feel like if I walk past them and I turn around and check back, they're still looking at me, you know?
Yes, I'm pleased that, well, there are a few people here to overhear our conversation.
I think he's probably okay, he says, leaning forwards.
Did you see any other instances of that? You saw one body, the 8th murder. Did you, in your patrols, did you happen to see anything else? Did you observe what was going on at Juju House?
We I didn't manage too much in the way of surveillance there before I was arrested, but I did follow a man, muscular, shaven head, African man, probably late 30s, early 40s. From there to a coffee shop on 139th and 6th, above, and kind of looks over at Brunton and again and says, Fat Maybells, which is a saloon. Nobody. I followed up after. Nobody seemed particularly keen to talk to me about him. But I did get a name. Mukunga Mdari. And I think that is the moment that somebody decided I was a threat. My friend Millie may have told you his name, Needham Johnson. He knew that I was suspicious of the involvement of Juju House and the people, the proprietor and others there, but I never got a chance to pass on Mdari's name, so that's new for you. Do
you want us to involve Mr. Johnson?
Could be worth you speaking to the guys. If you're going to find them, they'll be at Teddy's, but I'm sure Millie told you that. But yeah, that might be everything. Oh, I was talking to you about patterns before. One other thing that I kind of noticed, which may or may not be relevant, but none of the abductions, murders, any of it seemed to take place within a 2-block radius of West 137th Street. Except the 8th murder.
And that was where, I presume, West 137th Street was the place you were?
West 137th Street is very near the Juju House also. And beyond that area, everything seemed to fan out in kind of a circle for about a mile west of the Harlem River. So perhaps a focal point.
The 8th was when you were caught, correct?
Correct.
So it's possible they had less choice as to where that would be. If it was indeed to catch you.
And in that same way, the murder of your friend goes outside the usual pattern also. But if he had been sticking to the hotel, which is where I understand this happened, then perhaps maybe he was getting somewhere and they were desperate so they went outside of their usual pattern there also.
I think he definitely was.
Was there any pattern that you can see in the other 7 murders in terms of the victims?
I never got near putting something like that together. And like I said, the times, they seemed random, at least without all the information. There was no week cycle, lunar cycle, anything like that. So as I said, perhaps they were in response to something else or on some other schedule entirely. I'm not sure. But the 2 murders that I am very aware of, one was to set me up and one was to stop your friend. So perhaps the others follow something like that as well.
We run dry.
I think, unless you have any last advice for us, Mr. Adams, I think we have asked all our questions.
I suppose it's too much to hope that the police, again lowering my voice, who of one of the 2 factions, I don't suppose they were regional, like away from this particular your home area. No easy way to identify them.
Well, I think Miss Schosenberg is aware of certainly the captain and probably some people that may be on his side.
Well, thank you.
Indeed.
Just been helpful.
Thank you. For
Thank
your time,
you.
Mr. Adams.
Thank you.
We,
And my one piece of advice would be careful.
Same to you.
And George Brunton comes in.
Now!
And says, well, I hope that everyone has found that useful. Please. And directs you back out the door that you came in.
Sure.
Once we're out the door, I'll just turn to Miss Brooke and go, when is this poor man due? Well, you know.
I'm actually yet to receive word of the date. But with the usual working of things, probably a few days from now.
Not
Maybe a
sure,
week.
2 days.
How far in advance do you usually know?
Sometimes the day before.
is not a lot of time for a man to prepare to die.
Do we know who his lawyer is? Like maybe with the latest murder, there could be some kind of injunction.
I imagine that his wife would have that information. My understanding is that it is an issue with funds. But you could speak to her. I'm sure she has that. Very well. Thank you all. I'm sure that Mr. Adams has appreciated your visit, and best of luck to you all.
Mr. Brunton, if you could, this is not your responsibility, so I don't feel like you have to, but if you were feeling especially kind, do you think you might be able to send a telegram to our hotel if, when you do hear news that Mr. Adam is due? Yes.
Can you make me a roll, Sam?
Yeah, I thought this would be a roll. Slade?
Yeah, perfect.
91 is not lucky.
Okay, I was going to say
there is always push.
I was going to
God.
say you can have the advantage roll.
Okay.
The bonus die. So roll the 10s again.
10s again, come on. 41, my persuade is 40. I'm spending 1 luck.
Okay. Okay, you can see like the cogs kind of turning in his head. And he says, I hope it doesn't come to that, but yes.
And so do we, for what it's worth.
Okay, I've called ahead to the gate, and my colleague will be. Oh, here he is now. And the slightly taciturn gentleman that you had been brought in by arrives and opens the door to the outside world for you and kind of gestures his head away. And waits for you all to be walking in front of him, essentially. So yeah, you head back over to the gate, and he opens the gate to let you out, and says, "Safe travels."
I mean, that's not suspicious at all, is it?
Not wearing a scrap of red cloth, is he?
That's not uniform.
I don't think I had anything significant in there, but I'm gonna check my bag just to make sure everything is as I left it.
You find a bloody knife.
Yeah.
A miniature electric chair. Yes, everything's in your bag still.
Mrs. Farwell,
Yes.
it occurs to me that you might have something else to discuss with Erica Carlyle if you happen to talk with her this evening. If it is a matter of funds, and this cult of the bloody tongue might have had something to do with the disappearance of her brother, perhaps she might see willing to spend some funds in Hilton's defence.
Yes, might be possible. Although I'm worried that there's connections there we haven't yet understood. And I would not trust that Erica Carlisle is not somehow involved in it just yet. But
Indeed, but
if we need to hire a lawyer here, I might be able to scrape something together to help us now. But I'm not sure, Mr. Price, you might have a better idea of this than the rest of us, whether whether that's the best course of action or whether we should just find out more information as quickly as we can and then let the legal system deal with it after that itself.
I do suspect that at this point in the proceedings, it would take a major upset to stop the train that is in motion. I think our best course of action is to gather information and, well, talk with Lieutenant Poole fairly urgently. But yes, I think basically action from within the police, and maybe it takes breaking a story to alter the course of events here. I'm sure lawyers will be necessary at some point, but I don't think. I think currently the case has been decided. So
only days, perhaps, until the poor man is executed. My gosh.
yes, we have our work cut out, it seems.
Perhaps, should it come to it, we could take more drastic action at the time.
Mr. Barton?
Raising an appeal, not breaking him out of prison.
Thank you for the clarification. I think we were all suddenly worried. Shall we have a drink in this coffee shop? Maybe settle our nerves before we go anywhere else.
Sounds like
Yes.
a good idea.
Yeah. Once we're all settled and drinks and everything, I'll just be like, so what do we really think our next moves should be then? This gala sounds interesting, but I'm not sure if it's directly likely to help Mr. Adams out of prison at this point, which feels like the most urgent matter. The places the most impact we can make on that right now feels like either going through the police directly or finding out what's going on with them, and going to this juju place, finding out what's going on there.
We could. Sorry, Mr. Price, go ahead.
I think, bluntly, we need to make connections with people with influence. We have little ourselves, so determining whether Lieutenant Poole is indeed a potential ally against Captain Robson, Rebecca Schesenberg, if the press were to create a big story, that would help move events. But as I say, yes, the reason I mentioned Erica Carlisle was because she is a name that would be instantly recognized. So if there is anybody of that, presuming obviously that she is trustworthy, and that I do not know, but if she were to be trustworthy, then having her on our side she would be able to open doors that we could not.
It would be very helpful indeed, but my experience of the rich and famous, that doesn't tend to be as likely as the average person.
Then
Perhaps
yes. Oh, go on. Sorry.
Perhaps also pursuing Mr. Adams' friends. I mean, they must want him free, and perhaps they can help us in more ways than just providing information. Certainly having locals who know their way around this place could be very helpful.
The possible directions to go, as I see it, are, as a sideways step, the gala to contact Miss Carlisle, the Juju House Teddy's bar to contact Mr. Adams' friends, this coffee shop that Ukunga Madari was seen visiting, though he could have just been going for a coffee, and that I didn't quite make a note of it, but the place that Mr. Adams said that all of the murders but 2 had not been in the area of.
West 137th Street, I believe.
Which
That's
is broadly around the Juju house, I think.
Yes.
Ah. Well,
But
perhaps not
there are
that.
probably other buildings that are normally found in that vicinity.
My chief concern is how we avoid becoming, well, we don't want to appear on their radar. If we are spotted, if we are suspected, then we might very well come under the same threat.
I think as our names are known to the police in connection to Jackson, and we are now known to have visited Mr. Adams, it may be too late to avoid association, at least as far as the police are concerned.
Plus, we have the advantage of not being in the country for several of the other murders.
I'm more concerned about us being murdered in the dark, Mr. Farwell.
Yes.
Well, my concern about us being murdered perhaps is one of the reasons that approaching Mr. Adams' friends is helpful. They may well be willing to provide physical support if we do decide to do anything dangerous. I mean, surely they want him out of this awful situation as well.
I'm also vaguely curious about this Dr. Lemming that was mentioned. The one speaking in the press about African death cults. It'd be as interesting
Yes.
to know whether he's a sensationalist or actually an authority on the matter.
Yes, we should review, see what has appeared in the press from this person.
Can anybody thinking about that make me an idea roll?
Yes.
About what specifically?
About the Dr. Lemming comments.
If you have to ask, you're not allowed to roll.
Yeah, I'm not going to roll.
Oh my god, I rolled 81, which is 1 over my idea of 80, which is rubbish.
I would have
Oh.
passed if I rolled, but I didn't.
I rolled 90, which is quite a way off my 55.
Okay.
Oh god.
That's fine. Don't worry.
Do any of
I got-
you? You gone?
Sorry, I got a 5.
That's
which
good.
probably-
Nice.
That does pass. I'm not, totally brain dead.
When you were with Millie Adams earlier today, she made a comment about an old crackpot with too much time on his hands talking about African death cults. Perhaps that's the same person.
You'd hope that not.
Not Jackson Elias then.
Did anyone say what the Juju house what it was? It an art? I heard that was
Yeah, it's
An art house.
What does that mean? Like, as in it sells art supplies, or it is a gallery?
Gallery.
Hmm.
/ occasionally studio place, but I'm maybe not
Cool.
in this case.
I think we should make contact with Mr. Adams' friends as soon as we can. They may have some information and also can help us and might make us feel a bit safer as well in taking any other steps. Also, it
Yeah,
feels
I
like
mean-
we should talk to the lieutenant again, or lieutenant, sorry, again. Sorry, Ted.
No, I was going to, say I agree. Speak to his friends. They might already have information that will maybe save us some time rather than us investigate something that they've already investigated and got everything out of. And I think, yeah,
Yes.
this Juju house sounds like a promising sort of thing. My gut is telling me that's a place to go as well.
I think that's where we're going to break this whole thing open, as they say. But I'm not quite feeling prepared to go there myself just yet. Sounds like there's some very bad omens there to me.
Well, how about for the rest of the day, we visit Teddy's, and then in the evening, Mrs. Farwell and I have a gala, and perhaps the rest of you can follow up on one of the other leads.
Can you meet the lieutenant? I mean, off the books, it might be easier in the evening if you can find him.
Did Miss Schoenberg, I seem to recall, she suggested she might be able to put us in touch with him?
I think it's a
Am
good
I-
chance that she would be able to at least help in finding out or his information and getting in contact, even if she can't directly do it right now. But I'm sure she's got contacts that would help that anyway, even if it's not her. So it's probably worth
think-
asking.
The lieutenant did tell us how to contact him when he interviewed us, I believe. Though, yes, whether you want to contact him in a more off the books manner is another question. If you're trying to keep a low profile, turning up at the precinct might not be the best idea.
What time is it now, Johnny? I gather like afternoon, but
So at the point that you leave the prison, it will have been 4 p.m. And
There was
then you've travelled back into the city as well. So we'll call it 5. Like if where you were having a drink was in the city, we'll call it 5 that you get back in. So 5:30 probably by the time you've finished having this conversation, kind of thing.
yeah, I'm getting the sort of feeling we have time to do one thing this evening. Either go to Teddy's or at the gala. I think we should go to the gala, probably. Sorry, I should say in character. I suppose given how much time we have left, me and Mr. Barton should start thinking about this gala fairly soon if we're going to it tonight. But you 4, you 5, have the rest of the evening to yourselves. Many options in front of us.
5?
Corporal Shane.
I was assuming that Corporal Shane.
Which would be 4.
That's still
It
Paul
doesn't
Mel.
Yeah.
Don't count
yeah.
me.
Keep us here. Just...
It's like, who else is with us? Who
Corporal
have I
Shane.
forgotten?
And that guy in
Jackson
the
Elias is
red
always
bandana
with
has
you.
joined us as well.
What about the man who just is constantly standing behind you with an open, screaming mouth that moves whenever you turn your head? Him.
That prison guard's come with you for no good reason.
Yeah.
He wanted to make
Have
sure
a
we were
nice trip.
traveling safe.
Yeah. It was really important we had a nice trip.
He has a knife to return to us.
Okay. 2 people to the gala.
Mm-hmm.
Are the rest of you? Do you want to go to Teddy's?
Yeah. Ted does. It seems apt.
It would fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
So let's do that first because it probably would happen chronologically first because I imagine you will just go there, whereas Mrs. Fowle and Merritt may spend some time getting spruced up to make them more likely to be admitted. Whereas you might be less likely to be less admitted to Teddy's if you showed up looking the part. Okay. So you have the names of his friends, which, just as a reminder, are Needham Johnson, Douglas Fells, Art Mills, and Jackie Wallace. And yeah, it's Sunday, isn't it? So yeah, Teddy Saloon. It's you arrive, and it's not far from the. You actually pass the theatre that you were at earlier today on your way there. And there is a doorman who is literally standing in front of the door as you get there.
You're on secret mute, Justin.
I'm going to walk up and say hi.
Good evening, sir. I'm afraid I don't recognize you.
I don't think so. I'm a traveller visiting. But I had a recommendation this place was good.
Is that so? You got a name that came with that recommendation, sir?
Yeah, I'm... Today we've been talking with... It is Hilton, isn't it? That's the name.
Yes.
Yeah. With Hilton.
He sort of raises an eyebrow.
I know.
Hilton.
Adams. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah. Is that right?
I know. We were surprisingly enough, we managed to get a chance to talk with him. And he said it would be good to go and talk to some of his old buddies.
All right. He steps to the side. No trouble.
I don't even know what that word means.
And in you go. So the inside, it's quite plainly furnished. Kind of what you would expect. Booths around the walls, some kind of tables in the middle of the room. And you can see a bar lining one wall. And the menu kind of includes sodas and hot drinks. And there is a small food menu as well. The air's pretty thick with cigarettes, so even though the lighting is reasonable, it's significantly dimmed by cigarette and cigar smoke. You don't have a visual description of these people that you are looking for.
But there are, I suppose, there's more than a few people in the bar, or whatever this place is.
What was that? Sorry, Justin.
There's more than a few people here. So
it's pretty pretty well attended.
Great. Well, then I'll walk over to the bar and ask what's good.
Good evening. I recommend perhaps the cream soda.
Great. Then I'll look back and count my colleagues. How many? Like 3? 4? 4?
We've already had this discussion tonight.
Oh, no. Jesus.
7.
I'll have 4 cream sodas.
Yep. Gets those, passes them to you, and asks for the appropriate amount of money.
Yeah. And before I hand that over to him, I will ask him, hey, I'm here to meet some people. I give the names. I know that they're not always in. But could you point them out to me? And what are they drinking?
Oh, yeah. They just points to a booth and says, "I think they're all on the coffees."
Ah, well. Already, do you think any of them will need a top up?
I think, yeah, I've just done a around the room with the jug, so I think they're okay.
That's fine. Then I'll pay him for the drinks and go back to my compatriots. I'll explain the situation.
Yep.
So we go over and introduce ourselves. That's what we're here for.
Sure.
That's what we're here. I guess, yeah, we make our way to the booth.
So walking over, obviously you'll be attempting to get a feel for the room and these people that you're walking towards. So everyone can make me a psychology roll, and it'll be a hard psychology roll.
Then I am
Just so that
failing.
you're aware.
Yeah, no, I failed.
I also failed.
I will roll
Stupid
for
dice.
Oh, Inga might have passed. Does a 16? No, it doesn't.
Wouldn't have thought so.
Okay.
People are hard to read.
Yep. Especially through all this cigarette smoke.
Yeah. Well, I'll go over and introduce myself and say I'm here to talk to Needham Johnson if there's a Needham Johnson about to be talked to. I'm not here for any trouble.
Yeah, you see that. So when you're approaching, they're kind of, you think they're kind of sitting in that, comfortable quiet of, reasonably lifelong friends, kind of enjoying each other's company, chatting when chat comes up, but quite happy to sit, sipping a coffee with each other. And they all look up as you approach, and as you say that, one person lifts a finger. Yes, I am he.
Do you mind if me and my friends sit down? We've got a rather heavy conversation.
Well, we've had quite enough of that recently, I think. Sorry, friend. Might not be the day.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we were talking to Hilton earlier, and I think he said that you guys had been through quite a lot.
You were.
Sorry, our friend was one of the latest victims. The one guy who got taken out at the hotel. But I know if it's not the night, it's not the night. We can give you a card, and you can come talk to us when you're ready.
Sorry to hear that about your friend.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going around at the moment.
To be honest, if you've spoken to Hilton, did he tell you?
Do you mind if I sit down?
He kind of moves up like half a person's width into the booth.
Sure. Yeah, I think I can go over the the broad outline of what he said, and the only thing I'll hold back is well, not the only thing, but the main thing I'll hold back is that this name that Johnson, is a Makunga. That guy. Not going to say. I'm going to say that. Basically, say that Hilton had a few things that he thought maybe you should know about, but maybe it wouldn't be a good idea to tell you. It depends whether you guys want to get out of this whole thing or whether you guys are still interested in it.
Look, I don't want to speak for everybody here, but I think that I don't think we have any problem with you looking into this further. But
with these
we
things,
have,
if you
we-
can't get out of it, then we understand. It's okay.
we have families too, you know.
No, it's a smart move.
Um,
I just got to talk. I'll say this to the others. You know, did you have any questions you wanted to ask, or
Really, the only one that I have right now is this Dr. Lemming. How did you find out about this this person and the matter of the cult? Did you have any contact with him, or is it simply?
no, he's what would you call him, Wallace? I believe the polite term is a folklorist, but most people just call him a. No, I'll stay polite. We'll call him eccentric.
where can you find him?
Good question. I don't know. I only know his name from the paper. But isn't he some kind of like professor or something? Don't they? You can usually get their details, right?
I don't know. I don't talk to very many professors.
Yeah.
Well, you know, thanks. I think it's a good idea to get out of this if you can. So, no hard feelings. If you do think that you aren't out of it, if you feel like you want to get back into it, I give them our address.
Okay.
Or if you think you're being surveilled, if anything weird happens.
Okay.
Oh, and I don't know, your friend. I'm not a lawyer, but I think that given that there's been another murder, maybe there's something that can be done to slow this whole thing down. I'm not from here. I don't know how that works, but I don't know. I kind of stand up and you know, cheers at them and finish my drink.
Yeah, the one who you now know is Jackie Wallace because Needham
Mhm.
Johnson referred to him as such. Says two things, friend, before you go. Firstly, I take your point about new evidence, but you think 4 black guys and 1 in prison versus a white police captain, his evidence means about 10 times more than ours. And
Not
the
saying
other
that-
thing, I'm sure that us and Millie can appreciate what you're doing as long as you realize that it's a cruel, cruel thing to raise a wife's hopes if you don't mean to follow this through.
appreciated. And then again, like I'll look at the rest of the group, and then as long as we're happy to go,
Yeah, I think we are. They seem content to stay there, don't they?
Cool. A spruced up Mrs. Farwell and Merritt Barton make their way. Go on, John, were you going to say something?
I would
Do you
just
have
like
a-
to say that Merritt does not spruce up very well. I would like everyone to bear in mind throughout all of this that he has an appearance of 20, and there is
Yeah.
only so much that you can polish a rat.
I think Mrs. Farwell has gone out and bought some like not too cheap jewelry and some other things like just to make you look a bit like a nice bow tie, a few things to make you look smart, like so you won't look awkward.
That is understandable.
I've looked up what
The
my
bow tie might distract from everything else.
I looked up what my spending level is. My spending level is £50. I'm like, £50 is quite a lot in the 1920s. It's 2.5 grand is my. I don't even have to think about it spending level. So I think it's fine to just be able to buy you some jewelry. Apparently,
You can buy a house a day, probably.
yeah. So there you go. You now have some nice jewelry, Eric.
Well, thank you very
And
much.
a bow tie. Yeah. Do we know? Do we have any information? I would have at least tried to do a bit of reading about what the gala was. This might just be reminding us what we already knew, Johnny. But could we? Yeah. What was the gala about again? And do we know
Yeah.
anyone else who's invited or any other information?
It's a fundraiser for needy children, as is written in the paper. There are some other sort of socialites listed as well. None of their names mean anything to you. Obviously, you were looking specifically for Erica Carlisle in the list. But yeah, it seems to be, a reasonably well-to-do do of... if you were to be cynical, people who had a bunch of money wanting to feel good about themselves by giving a very small portion of it away seems to be the flavor of the evening. So you know that there is, like canapes and drinks. Basically, it's not a full meal, and some kind of entertainment. Singer is mentioned, so probably some kind of jazz singer or something like that. It gives their name, but it's not somebody that you know. So yeah, that's kind of the vibe of the evening, and
Sure.
Again, it's got hosted by so and so. It's not somebody that you know, but you've probably, I imagine, Mrs. Farwell has been to something like this or something adjacent. You have a vibe of what the evening is going to be. Every now and again, this person will come on stage and kind of try and get people to part with their money.
Yes, that sounds good. So it's not hosted by Erica Carlisle. I think what I will have tried to do, presumably this won't be too hard to do in the papers as well, is get a good mental image of what Erica Carlisle looks like before I go, and also show if I can find a picture somewhere. Also, make sure Merritt Barton has had a look at the picture so we know who we're looking for.
So she is a woman with short blonde hair, and I imagine that you could have probably... I think you found some sort of information about her as well, potentially. But she looks fashionable in her dress, and a reasonably good-looking woman. I think that that she's in her mid-20s, roughly. But yeah, you've definitely seen pictures of her, and you think that you could spot her in a lineup as long as there wasn't somebody that looked very similar to her, kind of thing.
Yeah, gotcha. That's good.
But also, a lot of the people at these things will likely be a bit older than her. It's the kind of thing that maybe in the past her dad might have gone to, and she would have been his guest, kind of thing. So a lot of people may be more sort of 40s. And they may have younger people with them, but for it to be a woman on her own in her mid-20s is probably reasonably, a small amount of people there that would fit that description.
Makes sense. Yeah, so I suppose the only other thing is discussing before we get there a little bit. So in the carriage, Mr. Barton, I'm sure we can spend a little time socializing with Miss Carlisle and her group. I'm much more hesitant to go mentioning very much of what we've been investigating and what we're really there for, unless there's good evidence that, well, she might be open to it, or something else brings it up. I don't know how you feel about that, though.
I very much agree, Mrs. Farwell. I think, obviously, it seems like quite a jump to think she may have been in some way involved in her brother's misfortune, but for whatever reason, she is adjacent to the matter, and we must ascertain her relationship before we bring it forward.
I agree. Get a measure of the woman. To be honest, a group of, well, a pair of strange English folks suddenly asking her about Kenya and her brother will probably just add to the pile of people who've been bothering her about it. So if there is anything to approach her about at all, as morbid as it is, I suspect linking the murders in this city to it all might be the most likely thing. But even then, it's a very strange thing to connect for her, so I'm loath to do it without good evidence. She'll, well, you know. I don't know if you have any better ideas.
I don't know how to broach the topic. I've thought about how to approach her. I know a variety of educational-based charities for the unfortunate over on our side of the Atlantic. I thought I might try and bend her ear about contributing to one of those causes. I don't see why it would be any more appealing to donate to than whatever they're donating to tonight, but I thought it might at least be a reason to start a conversation. And then you could swoop in with your womanly charms or something. You do have a way with people, Mrs. Farwell.
Thank you. And remember, you are my husband tonight.
Am I? I thought I was your gentlemanly escort. I am not sure I'm comfortable of taking Mr. Farwell's place. I very much feel I should have discussed this with Mr. Farwell before we left.
It would be very unseeming for a woman of my age to not be here with her husband.
I
suppose my husband may have passed away, and then you could be...
Or you could be
You don't really
equally
like a butler or
passionate
assistant.
about charitable educational causes.
So, just a friend, then, if you wish.
Yes.
I suppose tonight Mr. Farwell will have to be dead. He doesn't like this sort of event anyway.
Be careful what
Get
you wish
serious
for.
about helping needy children.
I must be honest, Mrs. Farwell. I'm not sure I understand married life.
It's not married life I'm talking about. It's the nobility, these sorts of folks. Or here they would be the upper class, not the nobility as such, wouldn't they? But
I'm not sure.
it's very usual for a woman of my age not to be married.
Don't worry, it might still happen.
Very well. We shall use our real names. You are not my husband. That is fine. I suspect we shouldn't tell everything about why. Well, we could talk about our friend, but maybe don't mention his passing. I don't really think I want to broach that subject and have other people interested in it here tonight.
Yes, quite right.
Okay.
Happy?
Yes.
Okay, I'm assuming that you are getting a carriage to the gala. So pulls up outside, and it's in kind of the function room of quite a nice hotel. So you rock up outside, and there are numerous people heading towards the door, dressed up really nicely. And there is, kind of a party vibe. Not people partying in the street, but as you get out of the cab, there is sort of a party vibe of the people kind of going inside. It's a small buzz of excitement kind of thing. and you head in and head to the door where there are two doormen. Sam, could you make me a credit rating roll, please?
I could make a credit rating roll. It is 50, so it's dead on 50. So we'll just turn around. That's a 93.
Ooh.
I can't
Sam,
like that.
change
Okay.
your
Can I-
dice right now.
Can I push?
Right. So
Just
you
try
go
what
to
happens.
you go to the door. Do you go as if to just walk straight in? They're not like it's not like when they went to Teddy's and there's the man in front of the door. They're kind of standing to the side of the doorway.
Yeah, I think I would trust that we look like, we look like we're meant to be here without asking. Walk straight in. Assuming that I see other people doing the same. They're
Mhm.
not checking names, yeah.
So, but you do notice on your approach that the doormen are kind of gently smiling and nodding at many people as they walk in, as if they know who they are.
Okay. I will just
yeah, go on.
make to do similar as I walk in, like just give them a smile and a nod as if that's what everyone does walking in here.
Okay. As you approach, they do kind of reasonably politely kind of put a hand out to halt.
Oh yeah,
your
I'll stop as soon as
progress.
it looks like. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry. Well, is this a guest only invite tonight?
The event this evening, ma'am, sir, is for a particular echelon of our society, shall I say.
Ah, well, I am here with my good friend, Mr. Barton. We only arrived in the city a few days ago. We weren't able to get an invitation, but I've come from Woodham Hall in Suffolk, and my friend here is a great patron of children's charities back in England. And, well, it seemed like such an interesting event. I couldn't resist popping in if we're welcome. Of course, I don't mean to intrude.
Can you make me a persuade roll, please, Sam?
I can do that. Yes, I passed the persuade roll.
Okay. Oh, Woodham Hall sounds very English. Please, apologies.
Not at all.
And you head inside, and it basically looks like a Great Gatsby party in here. Tuxedos and nice sort of frocky dresses, and a few people with kind of tiara style things, and all that sort of thing. There is, as expected, a jazz singer on stage. Men also in sort of tuxedos going around with trays of canapes and champagne. There are tables kind of to the side with seats around. There are some people sitting having conversations. And there's just generally, kind of a party feeling to this. Chatting and laughing and generally light-hearted. Are you immediately scoping around, see if you can spot Erica?
I think I am.
Mm-hmm.
I will get us. If Merritt seems to pause to look at everything, I will give you a few seconds, but then lead us towards the bar to get a drink first of all. I don't actually know how galas work. How do the donations of this sort of thing happen? Like, is there some of it you pay for, or is it just like there's not things going around you hand money into? That seems a bit uncouth.
The idea with this particular kind of thing, you are aware from something that you've attended before, that essentially everything here is basically complimentary, and either you may have brought some cash with you, which can be given to the organizer at some point, or in fact they may accept a monetary donation afterwards. If they will almost certainly get enough this evening anyway to more than cover what the outlay. And yeah, they will accept donations after the fact as well.
I think at the bar, I will say to Mr. Barton, first of all, we should find the host. That would be the polite thing to do, and find out the best way to donate, since we don't have an invitation. That would be the seemly thing to do. But keep an eye out to see if you can find Erica while we're here. What's the last name?
Carlisle.
Miss Carlisle, while we're passing through.
I'm
Yeah,
sure I
I'll
can
get us a
manage
drink.
that.
I'll get us a drink and then see if I can. Presumably the host is somewhat more obvious because they're the center of something. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, and
Well,
actually, as you are at the bar, the song finishes, and you see a gentleman get up on stage and say, "For those of you who have just arrived, good evening and welcome to this evening's gala. Isn't she wonderful, everybody?" And points to the singer. And there's a big round of applause, and says, "Please take as much champagne as you desire. We only ask that you give generously to the neediest and most vulnerable members of our society this evening. Of course, if you haven't brought the cash," he says, and there's a bit of a laugh from the crowd. He says, "Please feel free to come and speak to me and pledge any amount which we can happily receive from you after this evening's festivities. But for now, please, another song, more drinks." And he gets down off the stage. And another song begins. So you now know that is almost certainly the organizer. And John, can you make me a spot hidden, please?
Yes. There we go. Oh, that's some cocks. It doesn't matter. That's my unit. Oh my god, that is a 99. But it's not a botch because my spot hidden is 65. No, a 19. Yeah.
I think that's right.
100
Only
is
100 is a botch. Yeah, if it's
yeah, that's how it works.
Okay, you spot Erica, and she's having a conversation with somebody. But yeah, definitely her.
While you're, oh god, you probably go first. John.
I was just going to say I point her out to Mrs. Fowler.
Well, glad she's here. By the way, we didn't discuss earlier. I'll lean close to you, so like not super suspiciously close, just like, oh, we're having a quiet conversation. You can pledge up to £100 if you want to. I'll give you the money after this.
That's
if you're
very
not my
kind
husband,
of you,
then we should
Mrs. Fowler.
pledge separately. Otherwise, you shouldn't be here.
Yes. I would like to make a contribution of my own, but I'm not sure I have the credit for
Yes, I figured it's
quite that
fine.
much. Thank you.
I guess if mingling continues, I will I'll lead us in the direction of the host, and then at some point, and politely wait our turn while the conversations pass to introduce ourselves.
He kind of turns to you as it's not a queue, but there's kind of a group of people around, and it's kind of their working their way through, and eventually he turns to you and says, good evening. I'm sorry, I do not believe that we have met before.
I'll do a little courtesy and say, no, I don't believe we had. My name is Mrs. Farwell, and this is my friend, Mr. Barton. We only arrived a few days ago from England.
Yes.
Well, we're both patrons of this sort of event, and it was a lovely opportunity, I thought. Nice to see charity events just like back home going on for good causes here as well.
Very good of you to attend. I hope that you are enjoying the drinks and the singer. She's wonderful, isn't she?
Very much so. Wonderful event indeed, and a wonderful venue as well. So,
Do you want make me? You can both make me spot hidden rolls.
sure.
If this is actually a cult event, that would be amazing.
I got a hard success.
Okay. Him mentioning again that she's a good singer has made you kind of look around and realize that there's definitely a family resemblance. Maybe that's his daughter that he's giving some exposure
Okay, I
to.
see. I see. Is it is he playing it off like he doesn't want me to know, or is he playing it off like he's like nudge nudge hint hint? I got a hard
No, you think that he wants you to say that she's good on her own merit, basically.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, yeah. I think I will go yes, and then I put a split second realization. I go, she's really wonderful. She could go far. I think perhaps make it professional. Oh, no, I'm sure she is professional. She's make it on the stage big across the country. I could see her being big back in London as well. She should travel across the ocean if she isn't so far.
Oh, Mrs. Farwell, I will pass that on for you. And in fact, a small secret. That's my daughter up there.
You must be very proud.
Well, she's very talented. Young
Incredibly.
lady. Is she actually good, Jonny?
She is quite good. Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's just like, oh.
No. She is actually pretty good. So yeah, it's not a hard compliment to sell.
I will lean in and say, oh, and by the way, I would like to pledge £100, or I suppose I haven't converted that into dollars. My apologies.
Oh, that's very
that's
kind. I think
appropriate for an event like this.
I think it's preferable in our favor, shall we say, Mrs. Farwell. So that's very generous of you.
And I will should I talk to your doorman about my address, or would you like to sort it?
I am happy to take details, or yes, perhaps you could leave them with the door staffer. I do have a few other people to be mingling with, but I hope to speak to you both again this evening. A pleasure to meet you both.
Pleasure to meet you. And obviously I will match Mrs. Farwell's donation.
Oh, very kind of you, sir. Yes, thank you. I'm very happy to have you both here.
Happy to be here.
I'll let him be.
Cool. Yeah, you see him, working his way around, schmoozing.
I guess meander. If I don't know if Mr. Barnes is going to walk straight there or not, I will kind of meander my way casually in and out of conversations in the direction of Eric Carlisle.
Okay. Yeah, you kind of wait until the conversation that she's having with somebody comes to its end, and in fact, she kind of takes the last sip of her drink, which looks like it may be some kind of martini. It's in the martini glass, and she kind of obviously not a martini, but she waves the kind of glass and then turns to head towards the bar. Yeah, you can kind of intercept her if you want to.
Yeah. Oh, it seems like I need another drink myself, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. We'll meet her at the bar.
Yeah, she's waiting for her drink to be made up, and she's kind of leaning on her fist on the bar and looking quite impatient.
I feel like it's funny. I feel like my approach will not be to talk to her directly, and instead to look interesting. Hope she talks to me. So, but maybe Barton won't take that approach.
Barton, in affairs of interpersonal relationships, Barton will look. Barton is out of his depth. He will look to Mrs. Farwell on the best way to conduct himself. I'm basically looking for a nod if you want me to approach her.
I think after a moment has passed, without her saying anything, I think I will go. Oh, I'm still not used to this. What's the word for no alcohol? Sorry,
Prohibition.
still not used to this
Temp-
prohibition in the USA. Back home, well, an event like this would certainly have a few more alcoholic beverages, but I gather that's rather taboo here nowadays.
She kind of laughs under her breath, and says, I believe it's supposed to make everybody more productive, which is something I can get on board with. If you'll excuse me, she takes a drink and starts to walk away.
I think I will let her go in this moment unless Barton steps in, but I'm not stopping you. If you're like, should we chase her? I'll go.
I say, I don't suppose I could bend your ear one moment about the merits of education for the disadvantaged youth, could I?
Make me a hard persuasion roll, please, John.
Yeah, let's try that.
Could I also make a psychology just to get a measure of Jonny?
Yeah.
Like, why she's so impatient.
35, which is more than the required 27.
Well, I got a 1. So
Oh.
extreme success.
Okay. She is okay, you get the vibe that she is, if she's at something like this, it will be because it benefits her in some way and perhaps her business. It's likely that any conversations that she has will be to maintain her business relationships. She is probably giving the minimum amount of money to not get a negative reputation and to be allowed to come here so that she can have off the books conversations with other people involved in businesses. Yeah, that's kind of the vibe that you get. So anything, you don't think you're going to get anywhere with her with small talk.
Okay. Can I, with my hard success, can I be cheeky and say I have a chance to talk before she leaves?
Yes.
Miss Carlyle, please, one moment. My name is Miss Farwell. I'll be frank, we were here hoping to meet with you. Seems like you aren't particularly interested in this event either, so I thought it was sensible to cut the pleasantries.
She looks at Merritt and says, Mr. Farwell, I presume?
Mr. Barton.
Oh, Mrs. Farwell.
My husband is in town, but this isn't really his scene.
Okay.
I know. I said it was unseemly for him to be a friend. I told him he should have come as my husband, but you know.
You told that's worse, Mrs. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Miss Carlyle.
You have my ear for a moment.
Well, I see you're a lady of business and not of mincing words, so we came to the city to meet a friend of ours. A friend who investigates unusual matters of cults and the mysterious. We have been helping him before with these sorts of activities, investigations, and he needed our help again in New York. Well, things have gone a little awry lately. I think I might look at Merritt, glance at Merritt for a moment as my decision as to whether to reveal what happened is up in the air. I sort of like Erica at this point, so I think I might.
I think Barton's gonna give a small nod.
Okay, assuming we're like, oh no, this place is loud enough. No one's probably listening in, right, Johnny?
If
Can I
you're
do
checking that, make me
I
a
would
spot
like to
hidden
check
roll. Well,
Okay,
John, your failure before, I'm afraid,
yes,
exempts
fine.
you from
Oh.
this. But
I'm glancing around.
I will, for
Yep,
flavor,
17,
glance
I pass.
around and see absolutely nothing.
you passed, Sam.
17. No.
Okay, you
That's
do
fair.
see somebody watching you reasonably intently from quite nearby. And as you notice that, Erica says, "Don't worry, he's with me."
I'll pointedly raise an eyebrow.
He's quite a burly looking guy who may be some kind of bodyguard or
Mhm.
personal assistant.
Okay. I'll not glance at all. I'll obviously not glance at him once I've noticed and go, no one else has such obvious security. Are you afraid? Maybe I shouldn't pry.
It just treats me well to have somebody. I'm a very wealthy woman, Mrs. Farwell, and do not have a friend to attend functions with me.
I might slightly amused glance between the large, burly, intimidating-looking man and then Mr. Bart next to him. Well, I'll be frank. Our friend is dead. He was murdered 2 nights ago. Is that correct? Three nights ago?
Yeah.
You might have heard about his murder in the paper, Mr. Jackson Elias.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes, thank you. Well, he was a good man, and we are very sorry as well. And, well, I guess we want to know what happened. And one of the reasons we want to speak with you is, well, he was investigating what happened to your poor brother. I don't know if the two matters are connected, but...
I'm not sure either, but well, my brother is a different thing altogether. Perhaps it is better that he is gone. Always excess with him. I mean, even his death was too bizarre to be decent. Brought all kinds of questions. Anyway.
Been very traumatic for you, Miss Carlyle.
Yes, I was being bothered constantly by journalists and police.
Indeed. And I'm loath to bother you about this sort of thing again, so please tell us if we're being brash or uncouth.
Look, I don't wish to talk about this now, but I don't dislike you, Mrs. Farwell, so perhaps you could... Well, perhaps we could arrange a time to have a quick conversation at my estate.
Okay. Most welcome, thank you.
If you go speak to Joe, and points to her man. He keeps my diary. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have somebody that I need to discuss shipping with.
Of course.
Enjoy. And I will, approach the burly-looking man.
Can I help you?
Yes, Miss Carlyle suggested we talk to you about getting an appointment in her diary to meet at her estate. My name is Miss Farwell.
He kind of looks over at her and says, Yeah. She didn't hit you, so it's probably fine.
I will
He-
actually chuckle a little bit.
you see like the corner of his mouth just curl up the tiniest amount as he says that. And he looks through and says, so it's Sunday now, Tuesday, 11.
Should work.
We have
be-
an appointment in the afternoon, but that should be fine.
The will reading is Monday.
Oh, never mind then.
Thought you were so on top of it there, John. Pain.
I struggle enough keeping track of days in real life. Why am I trying in a fictional life?
John, you should have just
Like
pretended
diary.
you did have an appointment that even Johnny didn't know about.
And you see him write in the thing and then passes you a card which has the address of the estate on.
You beat me to the question. Thank you very much.
Good night, he says, and walks off towards where Erica is, where he can get a better eye on her.
Leave him to it. And then I suppose that then I'll turn to Mr. Barton and say, well, I think we probably should be here a little longer for politeness sake, but one more drink and then shall we be off?
Yes. Let's see if anyone else interesting makes themselves apparent.
Sounds good. Hang around by the bar and just see what else happens. But if nothing else happens, that says.
Cool. That seems like a good point to call it. Unless anybody has anything else that they particularly want to do on this day before 10 p.m.
I had been planning on asking Ted if he wants to go to the Juju house on the way back from Teddy's, just to slip off, because it's clearly a bad idea. And I only think Ted would. Oh, Ted is the only person I trust to follow through with me on a bad idea.
Yeah, that sounds like a good bad idea.
But we can do that next session. It's just,
Cool.
Are you sure you want a bad idea to end on a cliffhanger?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
It's just the bad idea is just me on the way back saying, "Oh, Ted, do you mind holding back for a second? I think I've dropped something." and then just saying, like, I'm planning. I was going to go to the Juju house today. Just have a look around. Do you want to come?
What's the phase of the moon at the moment? Is it like?
I don't think we're even considering that. I think we're just going. Let's just go. We're out.
Yeah, exactly. Agreed. And I'd like you can cut between that conversation and Mrs. Farwell going, "What was it? Like my husband might be dead."
Why are you doing this? No, you. In actual fact, you are my significant person. Please stop trying to die. You'll break me.
I'm not trying to die. I'm trying to investigate a murder.
Cool. Yes, we'll pick that up next week.
Cool.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments, please put them in the chat. I enjoyed that a lot. The next things that are happening are other things than this. Thursday, May the 1st for the Yellow King. Wednesday, April the 23rd. So that's next Wednesday for Simba Room. We may or may not be back next Monday, but we will be back the one after if we're not back next Monday. It is a holiday. So there's the potential we might not be here. We will see. Links to everything below the stream. So YouTube, Twitch, social media, Discord, which you should come chat with us on, and Patreon, where you can support us if you enjoy what we do on the channel. I think that's everything. Any good questions or comments in the chat, John?
Yes. Let me just.
Was a really fun session, wasn't it? I enjoyed that a lot. Like good little. I'm really looking forward to. I was really thought Eric Carla was going to be evil, and the fact that she's a really cool character, I'm very happy about. I'm really excited.
Mrs. Farrell going around the gala loudly announcing that he's not my husband.
Yeah. It's the 20s. It's very weird for me to be somewhere with a man who's not my husband, especially like I'm in my 30s. Husband's a bit
Literally
like,
nobody cares.
okay, you don't want to pretend to be my husband. But
It partly depends on your age, not that Merritt would ever ask Mrs. Farwell her age.
I think you, yeah.
But also, like, it's less scandalous, I think, for a married woman to go around with a man she's not married to
Yeah.
than an unmarried woman to go around with a man she's not married to.
Agreed. And also, darling, you may have aged out of the concerned period. Like, you
yeah,
know.
that's your point. No. They can, but well, she doesn't.
I mean,
get
I
that.
know that's a chauvinistic thing to say, but it could be true. You know, I'm just putting
Still
it
a
out there.
bachelorette to herself.
You're not 20 anymore.
Do you want to stop being my significant person? Because this is how you stop it.
Yeah, there's rules for what happens if your significant person dies. What happens if you divorce them?
They're still significant. They're just a fucking pain in the ass.
Also from Steve, I did also like this one.
Seems like prohibition hasn't stopped all those weird cult murders that have been going around. Let him drink again. It hasn't worked.
They might be better. They might be more efficient because they're not drunk. No.
Maybe it has slowed them down. There were absolutely loads before. That's why that's why the police aren't actually that bothered by this. They're like, it's better than what came before.
Now there's only one every phase of the moon.
Yeah.
I love the idea that because there's less of a terrible crime, they're just not going to investigate it anymore.
If we investigate it, it might speed back up again. We were investigating before and it was really bad. And
If
now
we
we're not.
investigate
It's
and
lower.
solve it, then they're going to get rid of us. We need to keep one, so it looks like they need to keep the police around.
Amazing. There are another couple of comments that I did quite like, but I believe they may contain spoilers for the story ahead, so I am not going to show them on screen.
Yeah, but they were good comments.
They
And
were
very
good comments.
Appreciated.
And I'm excited.
Yes, thanks, Max Writer, for joining
Now
us.
we know what. I now know what not to do.
Well, that might still happen.
Yeah, no metagaming. Cool. Okay, I think that is everything. Join us on the Discord for the best updates on when everything will happen and all that good stuff. We will either be back next Monday or back on the 28th. Thank you for joining us. Thanks to the players, and goodbye.